So it looks like people are boycotting, canceling some pre-orders, and just in general unhappy with some Xbox news. So, I kind of wanted to get into this because I feel like this is a very, very interesting topic that, actually, to be honest with you, it's a topic that is near and dear to me because, it's realistically pretty much right up my alley. Like as an Xbox fan, just as a gamer in general, I always kind of look at this and I just kind of say, we're entering into a weird time in gaming, and there's a lot of gamers who very wrongly just go, oh well, that's the way the industry's going. We should just accept it, right? It's just like, can you imagine where this world would be if everybody was just like, well, let's just accept it, right? I get it's just video games, so it's not the most important thing in the world, but just imagine if people took that attitude with everything, right? Like, you can imagine what a mess things would be, and, again, to me, it really kind of just looks like, these companies are going to always want to dictate what's best for them, not what's best for us, the gamers. So I think the sooner people keep that in mind and understand that, the better off everybody will be. The companies, if they want something, it's usually not going to be good for you or me. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm Crap Gamer. This is Crap Gamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. And, if you guys are looking for a channel that does daily gaming content, a channel that does, tries to be informative yet fun, you found it. So, yeah, please keep that up. I appreciate it for sure. With that being said, listen, Doom the Dark Ages looks like a pretty good game. I get it. I think that the game looks pretty dang good. The problem is, if you're someone who is, if you're a gamer that is into physical games, this is just a game that basically doesn't have anything on the disc. Physical copies of Doom the Dark Ages contain minimal data, requiring an 85 gig download to play, and has fans canceling pre-orders and some even boycotting. Days before the launch of Doom the Dark Ages, some fans took to social media to state that they had canceled their pre-orders after it was uncovered that the game's disc only contained a tiny amount of data and not the full product. Ergo, Doom the Dark Ages requires a full 85 gig download of the game to play on all available platforms. Now, this is something that I've complained about quite a bit. It was the same thing with, this has usually been a Microsoft thing, and no surprise that Doom is owned by Microsoft, but it's like, you'll get these it's basically 85 megabits, and it's like a prompt telling you to download, it's like, basically makes the disc completely worthless. The Halo Infinite was another one of these that did that, and the problem with what this is, and I've mentioned this numerous times before, like, it makes owning that, like, I like to own discs, right? I like to own physical stuff. Not everybody does. I get it. People are lazy. They're like, oh, well, I just like a lot of digital stuff, and I like digital stuff too, but it's like, you really don't know. Like, if you have a significant digital library like me, I wouldn't be able to tell if somebody took a game completely out of my library, digitally, and that tends to happen from time to time. Like they're saying, oh, well, you don't really own anything there. They can take the games anytime they want. Also, I also like to, just in case, like, let's just say I ever fell on, like, super hard times, right? Even if I wanted to sell one of my old school systems, right? Let's say I wanted to sell, I have multiple Xbox 360s. Let's just use that for example. Let's say I have the Star Wars R2-D2 360 with Kinect and everything in the controller. That's worth a decent amount. And I also have like 700 physical games, right? Even if I sold those games for $1 a piece, that's $700. Okay, so you have something there. My Xbox Series X, I have hundreds of physical games, right? Some of them have no data on them, which is unfortunate, because then, let's say, this is one of the reasons why I complain and fight for Xbox the way that I do, because at the end of the day, if Microsoft chooses to shut down the console business side of things, we won't be able to play anymore on our consoles. Our libraries will be dead, and that's unfortunate. I don't want that. People don't understand, right? They go, oh well, they removed the store from the 360, and you can still play games or whatever. Yeah, but the problem is there's still the servers up for you to connect to, right? Like there's a servers for each individual game, et cetera, and then there's a server that you connect to as a console, right? So this is how you get your achievements. This is why on Series X or Xbox One, if you're offline, you won't see an achievement pop because you have to be connected to the gaming server. So yeah, like you would be completely screwed if they decide to kind of shut down the hardware aspect of things, and that's what I'm fighting against. Like hopefully, Microsoft kind of listens to that. I know some people think like if there is a next gen from Xbox that they won't include a disk drive. I find that to be disingenuous. I also find it to be disingenuous that Xbox has released first party games like Avowed and South of Midnight with no disc version, and Hellblade 2 no disc version at all available. It's weird to me, but obviously Doom: The Dark Ages is a prequel to the 2016 Doom reboot that'll dive into Doom Slayer's origins and his unending war against demons, along with new weapons, etc., etc. So yeah, there is that. After, however, news broke that the physical copies of Doom: The Dark Ages only contained a few megabit of data, players took to social media to protest the matter. As reported, an ex-user said that some fans had canceled their pre-orders of Doom due to the controversial physical release decision, with only a small amount of data on both the PS5 and Series X game discs. This means that playing Doom: The Dark Ages will require a substantial download of 85 gigs on consoles. The steep download requirement is a major problem for users without access to high download speeds, which is supposed to be the entire idea behind physical games in the first place. So Does It Play, which is an account that checks out games and things like that, in response to Does It Play's post, several users stated that Bethesda's decision to force a full download of Doom was a deal breaker, and that prompted them to cancel their pre-orders. The decision by Bethesda not to include a full version of Doom: The Dark Ages on the Blu-ray disc is part of a growing trend in the gaming industry, even with the Switch 2 supporting game key cards that require a full download. Game preservation has become an uphill battle for fans and collectors alike. Whether Bethesda will respond, probably they won't. Despite the controversies, reviews have been generally favorable for the game, etc., etc. So again, it's like my issue isn't with the game itself. Maybe it's a good game, maybe it's bad. I don't know. I haven't played it yet, but just in general, if you're going to offer a version of the game that is, on a disc, you should offer them, the ability to actually play the game. It installs off the disc and then you can play it, etc., etc. Instead, they're kind of going about this in very much a wrong way, in my opinion. And, I think that people are starting to kind of understand what's going on here. And, for me anyway, the way that I'm looking at this, I just find it to be kind of unsatisfactory that that's happening. Just, I'm somebody who believes in game preservation. I also very much believe in, being able to play the games. I always thought gaming was much better back then, and particular way that you could go if you went to a midnight launch for Call of Duty or Halo. You come home after you buy it and stick it in your 360, play it right off the disc. That was always my favorite way to do it. I understand you can't do that now because of the speeds of the Blu-ray drives, but there is plenty enough room on there to fit the game on there. So yeah, it doesn't make sense that they're kind of going about this the way that they are. And I hope that they kind of change things before too long, because this is really damaging to the industry, in my opinion. So I would hope that we would see some things kind of change before too long. But to me, pretty unacceptable to say the least. Hopefully they can do something, but I'm sure whatever, they already have the discs out there, whatever the case may be, and so we're going to have to deal with it for the time being. How do you guys feel about it? Do you collect discs? Are you upset that this is happening with the discs and stuff like that, let me know. I certainly appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, Crap Gamer 'em up. I'll catch you guys here next time. Crap Gamer out.